Howdy, y'all. Ooh, I get to tap the gavel. We're going to start our meeting for SRWA. We're here in the BPUB Annex today. It's 12 o'clock. And we'll move on to item number one. Or before we do, I'd like to point out the fact that we have two brand new board members. Somehow they just keep getting better looking and better looking. You guys want to say hi real quick? Oh, you got to turn on your microphones.
Howdy, everyone. Andrew Gonzalez, joining from as a representative from Los Fresnos. I'm a city commissioner for a council member, place 2 there. Happy to be a part of the board. Just give a little bit of background. I do have a biomedical science undergrad degree, master's of public health with a concentration in occupational safety and health, and have spent 15 years in the oil and gas industry, so very familiar with wells. We produced a lot of water, do a lot of injection as well, so hoping to bring a bit of technical expertise. That's why the council there chose me as the representative from the city. Glad to be here.
Howdy, everybody. My name's Pat Pace Jr. Was asked to serve as the Valley Municipal Utility District Number 2's representative. I've been on that board for, I believe, 6 years. Born and raised here in Brownsville. Looking forward to working with SRWA on all their efforts in water conservation and all the RO. So, thank you.
Sounds awesome. Well, thank you very much, and welcome aboard. So on to item number one. We're going to go on to consideration and possible action on approval of the February 2, 2026 Southmost Regional Water Authority Board meeting minutes. And I'll entertain a motion.
Can I get a motion, Mr. President?
I'll second that. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay, on to item number 2, the General Manager's Report.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, and this is Marilyn Gilbert with the General Manager's Report. We have 3 items under the General Manager's Report, starting with Mr. Galvan, who's going to start with the Operational Chemical Optimization Report, and then followed by Mr. Santillan on the Financial Report.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Jacob Galvan, and I'll be presenting the Production Distribution Report for the month ended January 31st, 2026. On page 2 of your binder, or tab 2 of your board binder, you'll find the SRWA Water Distribution Summary and True-Up Estimate. I'll start on column C, where we have the SRWA total distribution. The year-to-date is 854.656 million gallons for a daily average of 6.948 million gallons. On column F, we have the distribution for BPUB. The year-to-date is 798.869 million gallons for a daily average of 6.495 million gallons. On column G, we have the distribution for Valley Mud number 2. The year-to-date is 22.188 million gallons for a daily average of 0.18 million gallons. On column H, we have the distribution for Los Fresnos. The year-to-date is 13.941 million gallons for a daily average of 0.113 million gallons. On column I, we have the credit for B and D. The year-to-date is 17.948 million gallons for a daily average of 0.146 million gallons. On column J, we have the allocation for Indian Lake. The year-to-date is 1.71 million gallons for a daily average of 0.014 million gallons. Below, we have the true-up estimate, where BPUB is over by 4.18 million gallons. Valley Mud number 2 is over by 0.74 million gallons, and Los Fresnos is under by 5.54 million gallons. On the next page, we have the production and distribution report for the month of January 26. On the column, on the third column from the far left, we have SRWA total water produced. The total for the month was 215.248 million gallons for a daily average of 6.943 million gallons. On the last column, the far right, we have the total water distributed. The total for the month was 216.848 million gallons for a daily average of 6.995 million gallons. Below, we have the chemical consumption cost. The total for the month was $111,000 $523.40. And below that, we have the electrical consumption costs. The total was $106,788.70. On the next page, on the next slide, we have the events that reduce water production. On January 9th, plant maintenance replumbed the chlorine feed line at the ejection point. That was a total of 9 hours. On January 21st, we ran an operational test that excluded wells that had high manganese concentration, and that was kind of ongoing, right? It took a day or two to run that, and then we collected samples off of those results, right? And then on the 22nd, we replumbed the caustic feed line at the ejection point, and that was about 8 hours. So we do have the results from the test that we ran, and they're already included on the slide here. So on January 9th, that's our routine monthly sampling. And then on the 23rd, you could see the results from the wells that had lower manganese, right? The results that we ran with a 5% blend. And the results are pretty similar to the results that didn't have blend water, right, on the 9th. So yeah, they were pretty good results. Everything was under the MCLs. On this slide here, we have the wells that we're on and the ROs that were on at the time of data or the water sample collection. Right, for the 9th and the 23rd on the far right. Here we have a graph of the manganese levels, right, with a 5% blend on the 23rd. On the next slide, we have the arsenic graph, right, arsenic levels with the ferric at 1.0 and the chlorine dioxide at 0.3. On this slide, we have a graph comparing the water plant production for fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26. And on this slide, we have a graph comparing water plant production for Bronzo's 3 water plants, where SRWA contributed with 32.06% of Bronzo's water demand. That concludes my report, unless you have any other questions.
Any questions? Okay, just give you guys a little bit of color on this. We have been trying to minimize manganese coming out of the plant, and so for a few months, we removed what we call the bypass, and staff will tell you all about that, in an attempt to reduce the manganese. And so now we've sat there and we've intelligently chosen what wells we pump our water out of so that we get a reduced manganese and we can bring the bypass back. And so, yeah, we're still testing. Still learning a lot about the plant, so we'll see how that goes. But
Are you tying that to specific wells?
yes, we're tying
Right.
that to, yeah, exactly. So depending on the well we choose, we get water from. And manganese isn't, it isn't a problem as far as if you drink a little too much, a little too little. The problem is you just get discolored water. So, we're trying to minimize those instances of discolored water.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. Jorge Santillan, Finance Manager. And I will go over the authority's financial performance as of January 31st, 2026. We're going to be looking at the last column, the year-to-date totals. Beginning with operating revenues from member assessments, line number 2. The amount is $2,597,121. From this amount, we minus the line number 10, which is the total operating expenses of $2,052,166. This results in line number 11, operating income of $544,955. From this amount, we add the line number 18, net non-operating revenues of 59,166. This results in income before capital contributions of 604,121. Line number 20, there were no capital contributions. This results in the same amount for the change in net position of 604,121. We add this amount to the net position at the beginning of the year. This results in a net position at the end of January, on line number 23, of 27,492,856. The last two pages, this is the O&M budget and actuals. And if we look at the last page, the approved budget, that's the latest budget. Looking at the last line, 5,495,084. The third line, the year-to-date actuals, those are the actuals through the month of January, 1,601,275. And then the very last column, that's the budget balance, which is at the end of January of 3,894,709. This is the O&M budget for the day-to-day operations of the SRWA. Any questions?
No, I think we're good. All set?
Mr. Santillan, is
Yes.
there any explanation on the fourfold amount for January actual on ammonia?
We got, is somebody
Four
from
times
the
budgeted.
department, Mr. Garza?
Yes, I'm sorry, what was the question off of the?
Just looking at expenses on chemicals, ammonia 7281. Actual in January was 4 times the budgeted amount.
Counts, it was 4 times the other one. Could have been an increase. I would have to see exactly
12,000
this one right here, right?
versus 3,700.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I can get back to you on that one. I can investigate why we had an increase, so 4 times higher. So 281. Yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my
That'll
head.
be fine.
But yeah, I'll look into it and get back
Thank
to you. Mhm.
Any other questions?
No, good.
Okay, more set.
Thank you.
So before we proceed to the next item, which is the drought update, I just wanted to go ahead and provide you a little bit of background on the operation. You have in your packet a lot of information. At any given time, we'll be happy to sit down and go through any of that information that's on there. I realize that it's a lot on your first meeting to get, but that's the idea.
Are these duplicate books?
Probably because
okay.
Mark didn't see Connie pass them at
Oh,
the beginning
that's
of the
fine,
meeting.
that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. So, and with that, we have the drought update, and we have Mr. Jaime Flores.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Jaime Flores. I'm the Water Resources Administrator, and I'll be providing you with the drought update. U.S. combined ownership at Amistad and Falcon reservoirs as of February 21st, 2026 is 27.4%. Look at the previous 3 readings. Back in January 31st, 2026, it was 27.6%. And February 7th, 2026, it was 27.6%. And February 14th, at 27.5%. So going down slightly. Not too fast, but it is going down. The National Weather Service March to May 2026 outlook for the Rio Grande Valley, Deep South Texas region. A warmer than normal outlook is anticipated through March through May 2026 period. Meanwhile, precipitation outlook is a true toss-up. March, April, and May are amongst the fastest warming months in the Rio Grande Valley. Falcon International Reservoir remained near historic seasonal lows at the end of February. Confidence remains high, near certain 100% on total reservoir storage remain just above record lows through May. As we transition into March, April, severe thunderstorms, winds, hail, tornadoes, heavy rainfall, and localized flooding has to be taken into consideration as the prospects for showers and thunderstorms could increase. Do you have any questions for me?
Been waiting for the rain.
We all are. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item on the list, Mr. Dombrowski will be presenting on
Oh, I
the,
think we have an answer that we're going to hear
Oh.
really quick.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was reviewing it right now. So when we get these shipments of the ammonia, these shipments can last several months. So I probably got a shipment that month and I got charged it. So the month before, I didn't receive anything.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Mr. President, excuse me, this is as a point of order. I think on the agenda, there was just the item for public comment. If anybody had signed up on a timely basis for public comment, before we get to any action items, it would be appropriate to address.
Okay.
We had no public comments.
Never do, but we'll make sure we get that on the record.
Good afternoon, Mark Dombrowski, the Chief Operating Officer for BPUB. Wanted to go over, in December of '25, the BPUB Board of Directors formally adopted our 2026 to 2030 Strategic Business Plan. And so this is our presentation to you as one of the owner-operators of SRWA. It's included in our strategic plan. So a little bit about the plan is we started back in March. We issued an RFP for services. We retained Scott Madden, who has a specialized background in utility strategic planning and optimization. We conducted a number of sessions. We interviewed members of our community, such as GBIC, BCIC, City of Brownsville, Cameron County, as well as our board members. We then did a scoping session with this group and really put together a comprehensive plan that was really based upon a lot of existing plans that we already have as a utility. For example, we have to have an integrated resources plan. We have to have a wastewater master plan. We have to have an emergency operations plan. And so the approach we took was to do a SWOT analysis layered on top of those existing plans that we already built to come up with our strategic plan here. And that's what I handed out to you earlier. Here are some of those internal stakeholders. Obviously, our board of directors, the executive leadership team. We interviewed all the department directors and managers and our employees. And the external partners I mentioned, which is the City of Brownsville, Cameron County, Port of Brownsville, GBIC, BCIC, and PubCap, which is our voice of our customer. They represent our key customers and our major customers in Brownsville. The framework tackles 10 strategic focus areas. Each of those have challenges that we're trying to address. We have 48 different initiatives under those strategic focus areas. We have 16 measurable key performance indicators and 4 desired outcomes. As I said, it's a five-year roadmap. And what's unique about this is we have made this public. If you go out to our website, it's linked there. We're going to report on our progress. So make sure you hold us accountable by meeting those goals and those key performance indicators that we've laid out. If you drill down through the plan, each one of the focus areas and the initiatives have their own performance measures as well. We updated our vision and mission statement. The previous plan was done in 2019, and we felt that we wanted to capture something that was a little more reflective of what the community thought. And so when we had our off-site meeting with all of the stakeholder groups, we really pulled into, we asked for all of their input, and these are the things that rose to the top that we felt like BPUB needed to reflect in both our vision and our mission statements. And here you can see how we align those 10 focus areas: affordability and our power supply optimization, optimizing our water supply, which SRWA is a major component of BPUB's water supply, resiliency and reliability and technology modernization, our customer experience and community engagement, risk management and interorganizational effectiveness. That's really how we interact with the other government agencies and nonprofits we work with, as well as employee engagement and development. And here you can see how you can look at our strategic plan online. It's also linked from the BPUB website in the top menu bar, but you can go to sp2030.brownsville-pub.com and see our strategic plan. We're going to report back on those 16 key performance indicators on a quarterly basis. And then we're going to update this as we proceed through the 5-year period, making adjustments as we need to in flight. With that, are there any questions? Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
Do let us know if there's anything, if you want your respective organizations. We have plenty of copies to circulate amongst your governing bodies, and we can provide that as well. It is available online. We also have other plans available online that feed into the strategic plan, such as our water and wastewater master plan that also discusses the SRWA plans as well.
Thank you. And before we move on to the next thing, we'll just officially ask at a separate time in the meeting before we take any action. Are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we'll move on to a presentation and discussion of Southmost Regional Water Authority Audit Report. Melinda.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. Melida Pinales, Director of Internal Audit. So as part of the annual audit plan for fiscal year 25-26, SRWA is part of the plan for this fiscal year. So moving on to the agenda, I will be covering the scope, the objectives, the overall opinion, findings, recommendations, and management responses. And then if you have any questions, or if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask. So the scope included a review of the area's internal controls for the period of October 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2025. And the process entailed reviewing job descriptions, interviewing personnel, and conducting field testing. On the objectives included, we reviewed policies, procedures, and/or work instructions. We also looked at the bylaws. On the review of any departmental records and reports, this included looking at time entry, budget, contracts, performance measures, the chemical fees. That was really important because they have a really big budget on chemicals. So we went back and traced back the actual POs to the contracts to ensure that the fees are as they're indicated. So on all of that, there was no problems with any of those things. We also reviewed the data management for the supervisory control and data acquisition system. So that just ensures us that staff has the appropriate levels of authorization to look at the SCADA. All of that was good. We also reviewed the city work process. These are any service requests that are processed or any work orders. We also reviewed the files on the vehicle inspections, equipment tool checklist. All of that was good. And of course, we looked at the adherence to safety procedures, safety programs, proper personal protective equipment, and any type of regulatory compliance. And also we looked at the JSAs when they go out to the field to do any observations or any type of work. So those were the objectives. Does anybody have any questions before I move on? No? Okay, so moving on to the overall opinion. So this is just an overall opinion from internal audit. Anything that any audit that's completed that has 3 findings or less is considered satisfactory. But in this case, this audit had 4 findings. So the overall opinion is controls addressed within the scope of the audit need improvement. The areas that need improvement include the consistency and accuracy of cost allocation and process documentation, and the audit resulted in 4 findings. Other minimal issues were conveyed to management through discussion during the audit. So these are just things that don't merit inclusion in the report. So they're either they can be talking points or issues that are addressed within the audit. Okay, so moving on to the findings, we did have 4 items here. We do have the work instructions, we have the improper cost allocation for janitorial services, the well site inspections, and the records retention process. I do want to mention that I have been meeting with Michael Esquivel. He's one of the lead operators there. He's been constantly calling me, how can he address all of these things? Most of these things have been addressed on the work instructions. There was 6 that were outdated out of 31. They've completed 5 of them. On the improper cost allocation for the janitorial services, a new PO has been created since October 2025, so that has been resolved. On the well site inspections, that one has also been taken care of. They've started to do these inspections starting in October. More than anything, they were being done, but they weren't being documented on an actual form. So that's what the finding was. And then on the records retention process, we identified records with boxes, records all the way back from 2004 to 2025 that have met the record retention or need to be reviewed. They are at 40% completion on this. I do want to mention that we will be doing a 6-month follow-up in June of 2026 to come back and report hopefully by then everything will be taken care of.
So, records retention, okay, we're fixing that. Well site inspections, we were doing, not documenting, which, yeah, is a problem. Did you see anything, though, that was, was it mainly failure to document or failure to follow procedures, or were there any real red flags that we got to worry about?
No, I mean, the issue that we saw here was, yes, they are going out there. If they identify any issues, they'll do the service request, to ensure that it's taken care of. But you couldn't really trace back if they actually went to all the sites, and you couldn't trace it back. So that was the issue. So now they're already started doing that. So there should be no problem moving forward.
That's great. That's great. Traceability is going to be very important in the future. So thank you. Any questions?
Ms. Pinellas?
Yes, sir.
Regarding back to well site inspection, is there a scheduled maintenance process that ties in with the inspection process?
Yes, sir. They do have a monthly inspection, and they do have quarterly, or we have management here that could come and speak a little bit more about it. This audit was done back in October. I was the one that led it, but we have so many processes, so many audits, so I don't really want to, but they could probably come up and speak to it.
I guess the inquiry is, will the scheduled maintenance be a part of this inspection process?
Yes, so currently the way we are doing them monthly, and then if there's any findings, we'll log them on a document that we have, and then we will coordinate with plant maintenance to go, or whoever it needs to make the repairs or whatever findings are, and they're submitting to our, one of our applications, our service requests, and that's just.
But I'm asking about scheduled maintenance,
Sched-
not reactive maintenance. Like every so many hours do y'all do the X? Every so many hours do y'all do this?
No, we just go reactive. Like if a well pump goes out, then we have a contractor that goes out and swaps our pumps or motors as needed.
Okay, so we're not tracking the time of pump runs and then saying, okay, at 3,000 hours, the mean time between failure
Right.
is twice as high. Let's pull the pump and replace it.
Yeah, that I know of. I don't have that.
You're trying to do a
Preventative, yeah. Okay, that's, I'm sure we have something, but that's something we'd like to hear about maybe next meeting.
Yeah, our electrical department, like our electricians, may have some kind of runtime hours on the motors.
Sure.
Yeah, we'd just like a little more color
Okay.
on all of that,
Yeah,
what you
I'll-
guys do. And, also areas where we can improve, if there's, as we've seen with the wells themselves, there are certain maintenance,
Sure.
things we can do to keep those wells open and making sure we have that in our schedule is important.
And I understand that you guys are always under the gun. I mean, at the port, we try to prevent, but sometimes we have so much work that you can't,
Exactly.
that you're just going.
And once we know, we can have discussions about staffing even, hey, look, to do all this maintenance, we need to talk about an extra person. Yeah, whatever it is, and then we can help out there.
Okay.
So,
Yep, definitely, I'll get back with it. All right.
sounds
Thank
great,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And no action was taken with that one. Okay, so now on to item number 4, consideration and possible action to approve the Southmost Regional Water Authority property insurance. Ms. Estrella.
Good afternoon, Board President, members of the Board. My name is Estrella Solórzano, and I am the Director of Customer and Support Services for Brownsville Public Utilities Board. Under the support function of my role, I do oversee the procurement of insurance, both property and liability insurances for BPUB and SRWA. Today, I am here to present to you the BPUB property insurance, which includes Southmost Regional Water Authority, SRWA. Available via WebEx is BPUB's insurance consultant, Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services Managing Director Paul Poisson, and risk and insurance consultant Austin Stubbs. They have prepared a presentation which is available in your packet, and they can present it to you today or will assist with any questions after I end my briefing. BPUB began the request for proposals for property insurance for policy year 2026 to 2027 with an advertisement for an invitation to submit proposals. The advertisement ran in the Brownsville Herald as well as on the BPUB website on December 13th and 20th, and it ran for a total of 6.5 weeks. The invitation to submit proposals was sent over to 6 different vendors. This current policy expires on April 1st, 2026. And this item was also presented to BPUB's Finance Committee on February 25th, 2026. All questions were answered and no concerns. Our president of the SRWA is a member of that committee. The request for proposals for policy renewal this year included a 3.65 increase in BPUB's insurable values. That's mostly due as a result of inflation. It also requested an increase of an additional 20% coverage in policy limits. Due to the market being favorable this year, it presented a great opportunity to ask for additional coverage. We are also growing as an organization, and we had the same policy limits for multiple years, so this presented a fantastic opportunity to do so. Out of the 6 vendors, aside from all the other vendors that could have potentially submitted a proposal, only one broker, Agency Marsh USA, who is BPUB's current broker, submitted a proposal for consideration with a not-to-exceed premium of $2.6 million. And they submitted an initial proposed program which shows a potential decrease in premiums of 4.48% or $115,956. The program was included in your packet for review, and we can answer any questions at the end if needed. The proposal was analyzed by BPUB's insurance consultant and met the requested specifications. Please note that the premium for both BPUB and SRWA is prorated based on the percentage of the values. BPUB represents 94% of the total values that are insured. The SRWA represents 6%. Therefore, the premium that would be due by SRWA is $156,000 at a not to exceed. BPUB Property and Liability Consultant has recommended the approval of the program at the not-to-exceed premium amount as ongoing negotiations to improve the terms of the coverage or the program as well as the overall premium continue. We are expected to have better terms as well as a lower premium than what is currently being presented by the time that we bind coverage prior to the April 1st deadline. So at this point, I'm going to ask if you would like our consultant to go over the presentation or if you would like me to go over next steps and provide you with a recommendation.
I think we're ready to move forward.
Okay, then give me 1 second. Let me just go over to the... Okay, so next steps, I will be presenting to the BPUB board on March 9th, which is next Monday, their portion of the premium. So at this time, staff recommends approval of the SRWA property insurance as recommended by insurance consultant Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management Services, Inc., for an amount not to exceed $156,000 for policy year 2026-2027 for an annual term with the board's option to renew for 2 additional consecutive 1-year periods.
Motion, Mr. President.
Motion has been made. Do I- Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Paul and Austin. Appreciate it.
Okay, next and last real action item is consideration and possible action to amend the purchase order for the annual supply of calcium chloride solution.
Mr. President, members of the board, my name is Jose Armando Garza. I'm the water treatment manager. Reverse osmosis RO treatment produces a permeate water that is very low in mineral content. Calcium chloride solution is added to increase the calcium hardness and stabilize the mineral content of the treated water before it enters the distribution system. The BPUB purchasing department opened bids for the annual supply of water chemicals, bid 057-25, on June 5th, 2025. On July 7, 2025, the SRWA Board of Directors awarded Univar Solutions USA LLC the contract for the annual supply of calcium chloride estimated at 2,100,000 pounds, with a unit price of 22 cents per pound. On August 5, 2025, SRWA discontinued well water blending at the request of SRWA's partners, BPUB and Valley Mount No. 2, in order to address customer complaints regarding yellow-colored water. As a result, there was a need to double the calcium chloride dosage in order to stabilize the treated water before it enters the distribution system. An additional 2,100,000 pounds of calcium chloride solution is estimated to be used for the duration of the contract period that runs from September 1st, 2025 to August 31st, 2026. In the box there, I'm sorry, I didn't win this. Oh. I'm lost. But in the box there,
A couple more that way. Oh, there you go, missed it. Two, nope,
No.
that wasn't it, sorry.
well, you can see the box in the item itself. The original purchase order amount was $462,000. That was approved back in July. We're requesting an amendment of an additional $462,000 for a total purchase of $924,000. The recommended motion is SRWA staff recommends approval of the purchase order amendment of calcium chloride to Univar Solutions USA LLC at a unit price of 22 cents per pound and a grand total of $924,000. Are there any questions?
How long does this last before we have to worry about it? Like, how long can we store this?
It has a shelf life about maybe 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months,
Yeah,
okay, so
depending.
I would be hesitant to bring in this much, basically doubling our stockpiles until after we kind of have run the bypass stuff to ground.
Well, what I meant that we can hold it for 3 to 6 months, but we're going through it like 2 truck loads per week.
Yeah, but I mean, so based on just the rough numbers, we have until about June for this to run out, or well, I guess, yeah, if we bring it in now, if we bring in the full order, we go all the way through October.
No, what I meant that the chemical itself will be good for 3 to 6 months without using or degrading. But we can only store about maybe 3 weeks of this chemical on
Oh, okay,
site.
so this is
Yes.
just to have
It's
them
just
bring it
coming
in,
in,
and
yeah.
okay, we're not storing the entire
Right, no,
lot.
no, we're
Okay,
not.
Okay.
You're going through it, you're finished.
Right, like I said, we're getting 2 truck loads of this chemical per week.
Okay. Well, this underscores the importance of the bypass, and maybe Friday we should all talk about next steps. But, yeah, $500,000. Okay.
So this will not be an ongoing situation once we figure out the bypass issue?
Once we figure out the bypass issue, we maybe even change some of the way we are treating the water. I don't know if they've seen Probably not. There's a whole discussion about how we treat the water at the well sites to remove some of the manganese. And so as we get past that, this won't be an issue, hopefully.
Mr. President, maybe this might be a good time for us to address. We can bring back some of our past presentations on the bypass issue that's going on at the plant, in addition to the well maintenance issue that we've discussed in the past, and other questions that in anticipation, since we have new board members and giving you the absent of the history that Dr. Holman has been on the board almost 3 years here, so, and Mr. Lopez about a year and a half, more or less. So that way we can bring you up to speed on some of these issues.
Thank you.
I think that'd be useful.
That was an action item.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, Mr. President.
Do I hear a second?
A second?
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And now
Thank you.
on to the final item, the discussion on date, time of next board meeting. And I know we normally do it the first Monday of the month. I won't be around, so that won't work for me, but that's all I have.
All right, can work around your schedule, no problem.
Okay. Okay. So maybe that next Monday.
What day of the week? I'm sorry. So
The PUB Monday, or the
Okay,
board
so
meeting Monday.
at this time, you all are requesting to move the SRWA board meeting to Monday, the 13th of April,
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much.